Smite 2. But shall we get right into what's coming up in the next update? Let's talk about Mercury up first. I will bring up the handy-dandy desktop. That was a good impression.
Thank you. I am notorious for having the worst impressions. But
Look who it is.
There we go. So this is Mercury in Smite 2. Pon, before we get into the kit, just talk to me a little bit about bringing him over.
Yeah, so Mercury, beloved assassin, has a pretty strong kit overall. Like, each ability feels really good. They all have their purpose. He's the one-punch character where his passive works really well with that. So a lot of his kit is very similar. We focus mostly on some feels improvement things as well as some visual upgrades for him. You can tell he has a new model, which is I think we've showed before, and that looks really, really cool. And then we did try to add a little bit of extra
something
spice
like that.
to encourage.
If he sends something dumb like that again, just ban him.
So we can go into each of the new +1 features.
Sweet. Well, let's talk about ability. Oh, a little bit of a little hitch there, but don't mind me. Let's talk about ability 1 first.
Actually, let's go passive. Ooh, you might be in a broken
I might
state.
be in a broken state here. Ooh.
Oh no.
That's not good. Hold on. Hold on, chat. Let me see if I can.
Cool now,
I'm gonna bring us back to cams here.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can exit and rejoin. Yeah. Let's see here. Dun 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 dun.
Well, we can talk about the first thing. So passive. Smite 1, if you jumped, you did not get passive charge. That has been fixed. It would have actually taken a lot of effort to make it work that way in Smite 2. But it is just a
the
nice
camera
quality
can't
of
even
life
keep
thing for
up with him.
It's one of those things where, like, because of the way we did it in Smite 1, it was really difficult to resolve. It's now just done. So that just Merc players can actually rebind their jump.
You can
again.
ban him.
Feels good.
Go ahead.
The AO1 got some visual upgrades, so there's a bit more oomph to the trail. There's a bit more oomph to the hits.
You can ban him.
These after image mercs that are actually
delete your
punching the
messages,
guys with
Pharma.
the hit.
Can you guys stop? I'm trying to
But
record
the
a video. I
other
can't
small
have
thing we
this
did was we
weird
made the
stuff all
min
over my
size,
thing.
the rank
Pharma,
one
get rid of your
size a bit
messages.
bigger. One, just to make sure, like, as
Stop.
you're clearing
It's
the
weird.
jungle camps in Smite 1, you actually have to, like,
Holy
very
shit, literally trying to
finagle it
record a video.
perfectly to make sure you get all of them.
It was a little too small.
It was a
the
little
rank
too
one.
small, so we just wanted to make that a little more forgiving, but we still think the value of it ranking up over time.
All right, restarting the video since I can't include any of that, and I'm not editing it out.
Was still important, so we kept that there. The 2, I believe, is the same. The 3 got an extra feature.
Actually, you know what?
Now
You guys lost
cancel the
privileges.
throw. So this is actually something
Chat box
where
is off the
if,
screen.
like, a lot of the times if you're like
Chat
you
box
just need
now
to get
off the
someone
screen.
a certain direction, you don't really care what the damage it's providing, you can grab them and turn your camera real quick and throw them immediately to your team, or you can let it actually time out naturally. And then the ultimate, the big +1 for the ultimate is you now get a burst of speed.
What are you recording
after
for?
you,
Because we upload the
ult.
Titan Talks, and this
that
is
scales
arguably one of
amount
the biggest
time
Titan
you
Talks
spent
we've gotten in a
charging
long
it,
time.
Not the amount of distance you go. So if you fully charge it, but then aim it at a wall so you don't go that much distance, you will actually get the full amount. And it's like a 40% speed stim, which for buffs is really, really high.
40% speed after your ult. 40%.
Which also contributes to the power you get from your passive, which means that after you ult, you
40%.
miss your first 2 punches to get the final punch hit, and then you crit them for 1,500 damage. That's also
That seems good.
It's pretty good, pretty good.
40%
That's also
movement
one of
speed
his
after the
trackers
ult.
is the highest. It actually tracks your highest crit
Oh,
damage.
no,
Fully
that's
charged
cool.
though,
That's a
yeah.
fun one.
Fully, it has to be fully charged, which is what's tough. So you can fully charge, but then like hit a wall or something like that. But you have to like you can do it to where you charge it just past them to get the perfect amount, or you can fully charge it and try to strategically like hit a wall or stop yourself in a good position to have 40% movement speed after.
Effects. We changed it to proc ability effects. It now procs both, and as a result, there are some interesting things. So, for example, Hydra's Lament says when you cast an ability, you get your next in-hand like attack will deal bonus damage.
Yeah.
Which includes the one that you just cast. So Hydra's is pretty good. We'll see. We'll see if we need to make some more rules things.
Right,
you can
give
see
me, like,
why we didn't do this in the past.
Is he
2
pure
seconds,
strength
chat.
scaling?
He has pure strength.
Okay, because I was about to say you could also do like Poly plus Hydra.
You can do
plus
Poly, and Poly
Golden
will actually
Blade.
proc
I don't
immediately,
know.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't do that well. Golden Blade, really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, you played Golden Blade one day. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
I played like a tank version just to really try and maximize it, and I was actually doing. I think I was like second highest damage in that one by being pretty tanky. It's pretty good.
I
If you
think
can
we're
get
on
it-
35
I
stream
had
streak.
to remake the lobby, but
Yeah.
we should be in action.
We were
now.
sitting in the lobby for a little while, so maybe something.
So we might need to come up with some more rule stuff for the one to enable this, but we do want to generally try and keep this where you can, because the theme of the ability is he's traveling there and punching. So you can see the little after images popping up. There's like a little trail that goes to the location and travels back to you after it finishes up. So just a lot of like visual +1s. Chuck did a lot of effort in getting these look and feel really good. there's still a few more things that we need to clean up. Like there's a crack on the ground. I need to get the opacity fading out. But like those types of things will get done before we release him.
Cool. So that was the 1. I think you talked through all the changes for that. Anything on the 2 that we want to talk about?
Not on the 2. On the 3, we can showcase the right click to throw.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So if you dash into this Ymir and then right click, so that was a normal one. That was
Logan, thank you for the follow for the stream.
I think it's working.
Do you have cancel bound to something else?
Ooh, maybe.
I can take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have your non-standard keybinds.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll look at that. It looks like there's something wrong with the because we actually.
So you can cancel the 3 early to throw them in a direction, so you don't have to stay in that position running around them doing the extra damage for a second.
Is that you can
so you can just immediately cancel it. You dash and immediately cancel, throw them back. So he did it, yeah.
And
immediately throw them, because sometimes when you dash into somebody, you don't want to be stuck there. So if you want to, you can cancel it early and throw them in a certain direction.
To do that versus not.
Or you can hold them and throw them if you want them there longer.
If your team is around to take advantage of the stun, definitely useful.
The only reason you didn't stay in your 3 the whole time before was because of diminishing returns. Diminishing returns would decrease the amount of time you held them there.
After you cast it, you'll see another buff on your bar. That means you got like 22% of the movement speed. That was my way of displaying the movement speed that you got. So if you fully charge it, it should say 40, which takes 4 seconds. It's a really long charge. Yeah, there's your 40. And you just have a whole bunch of extra movement speed that should contribute to Shrink Stone. So.
Yes, and you can just keep clapping incessantly if you want to be a traditional Mercury player.
Yes.
Yeah, he feels really good. I played him in a couple playtests, and I did pretty well with him. You know, if you're used to Mercury, he feels like Mercury, but with some nice +1s.
Yep.
Sweet.
+1s, buddy.
I will hover the abilities just because I know chat likes
I do think one other note is he does not have an aspect.
Yes.
He's fast, buddy.
Like, we had a few ideas internally of things we wanted to do for an aspect for him, but none of them really landed. None of them felt that great, and we didn't feel like we wanted to just rush one out for him when we didn't really have a strong vision for one. So he does not have an aspect. He'll basically be added to the pile of gods that, as we add aspects for, he'll come back up again if we have a good idea. But he's not going to ship with one.
Sweet. Well, that is Mercury, and like Kilgan said, he's feeling really good.
Yeah, I think the one that I already saw chat suggest, which was you could make him ranged where his like 1 becomes his auto attack.
Ah, yeah, that could be cool.
That is a lot more. There's a lot more knock-ons than that there's a lot more to solve there than just making the ranged attack. It doesn't quite work that way. We did think about it, and we walked through the exercise of trying that one, and it wasn't going to work that way.
Sweet. Well, that is Mercury.
Oh yeah, he does have 1 more movement speed than every other god. I did make sure that's there.
He is officially the fastest god in the game. He will always have at least 1 more movement speed at base than anybody
in the game.
Didn't
put it in there. I need to do that. I wrote the text for it, so it's localized. I just need to put it on the tooltip.
Cool.
You held them there?
Well, that is Mercury in Smite 2. I will bring us back to Cam's, and we can check out the Ascension Pass really quick.
Ascension Pass? His Ascension Pass, yeah.
Not for Mercury, though.
No, the new aspect. Yes.
And let's see here. I am scrolling to Mercury, Mastery. Here we go. All right, so we got Shadow Mercury up first. I like how the addition of like the little cloth just gives a little bit of extra depth to the Mastery skins.
And you'll notice when we're looking at even the base model, it has been updated since we last showed it off, and the fabric should be a little bit better than, because that was still a work in progress last time we showed it.
Yeah,
cool. And then this is the tracker Pon was talking about, max crit. The highest amount of damage done in 1 hit by Mercury. So just build that crit.
The trick is you're going to want crit, Deathbringers, Hydra's Lament. You're going to want to try and ult someone max
then
range,
like that thing could be like 11,000, which would be really cool.
Stampede you.
That's a cool tracker.
Get someone to lower their protections. And then with your first 2 basic attacks so that your 3rd one hits with your passive. And you'll make pretty good progress towards this. There's still a lot of ways that you can cheat even more damage out. But
for sure.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Mastery emote. You've got the clap. Objectives destroyed. God assists. And the second tracker is interesting. It's around Mercury. So it's the distance Mercury has traveled relative to the circumference of Mercury. Who came up with this one?
That's a good one.
So this was India came over to talk to us about what we wanted to do here, and we were chatting about different things that we could be doing, and then we talked about the soul one, which is like distance towards the sun, and we're like, okay, what about like running around Earth because he runs really fast?
Yeah.
And then I think India had the idea to, instead of doing Earth, do Mercury, because Earth is bigger than Mercury.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Mercury is actually more achievable to run around.
It's true, yeah. That's a good tracker.
And I think we figured you had to play something like, it was like 2,000 hours of Mercury.
Oh my gosh.
If you actually want to get the city 100%. So good luck. It's a goal to aspire to.
For sure.
They're so fun. I think we've done some really fun things with the trackers and with the emotes. You know, I think the Ascension Pass is just really neat.
Yeah, they're so sick.
And ult, it is just distance traveled. So yeah, your ult counts, your 3 counts.
Oh, nice.
Like while you're jumping, it should count. Yeah.
All right, we got Onyx Mercury up next. The classic black and gold, looking slick. Then Opal. Ooh, I like the purples here on this, on the armor. The deep purples specifically are really cool. The global emote is close to my heart as an anime
great.
fan. Let's see if chat can get the reference here, but this is good.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
And then we've got his wave emote. The title is Messenger. You've got your God Kills tracker, your mastery badge here, and then last but not least, Radiant Mercury for hitting mastery level 10.
That's great looking.
Yep. And I'm assuming the card effects are still
we
work
can
in
take
progress.
a look.
They might be done. I don't know. They look good.
Yeah.
Looks like you're going fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Speed lines.
Sweet. All right. I will bring us back to cams. I believe next up on the
list is
the aspect for the
aspect. Do you want to talk us through what we should be expecting here?
Yeah, so Nuwa aspect. So this is a bit of a nod to move her towards a playstyle people have already done decently successfully, which is in-hand Nuwa, with a few other tweaks that just give her some different ways to play. So the big thing, the biggest part of this is actually Fog Cloud is getting pretty significant changes. The first part is that Fog Cloud, instead of just traveling forward and staying forward and just going the same speed the whole time, is it'll start going forward and then slow down and stop and become like an actual field. So you can just drop this on a wave and it'll actually stay on the wave and deal damage. That's already just a change that is pretty different. But the secondary change for it is if you're in the field and you auto attack, you are not revealed from stealth. You stay stealthed. So you can drop this, go into the fog cloud, and basically.
I hate that the minions just went to 3 different people.
To react to the actual projectiles you're shooting. So this gives her just an area where she's really.
I hate when he just spawned the minions. They went to 3 different targets. That really fucking bothers me.
To be more close to like.
That really annoys me.
So pretty cool.
That the minions just ran to 3 different targets. That happens to me all the time. I can't stand it.
So for example, I think it's Strength of Fire, which is the one you get for your ult. That now gives you a significantly more increased attack speed. So that after you ult, it's basically your ult's kind of a stim because the ult, if you're doing
like, why is it targeting 3 different people? How does that make sense?
Scaling. The second part of that to help that though is that it now deals damage based off 80% of what your basic attack would be. So as you build more strength, as you build more in hand, if you have like Dagger of Frenzy and pop that, that'll contribute to your ult damage instead of int. And then I believe it's the 3 damage lost some int scaling and the 3 explosion damage lost int scaling. So you're not relying so much on you're really looking for the stun on that combo rather than the actual damage that Shining Metal and the Clay Soldiers provide.
Yeah, and then another big one here that I can see in the text is that Fire Shards now scales with basic attack power, can critically strike, and procs basic attack item effects. So you can crit with your ult now.
Strong.
Why did we need that?
Yeah.
Is that really necessary?
This will just be the thing that happens after we go live with this and everyone makes 3 Reddit threads about how strong it is.
Oh, no. Let's see if I can build some crit here and show it off. We'll do Rage. We'll do a Deathbringer.
You can also get the Death Metal. Death Metal's good here.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Where is Death Metal? Here we go. And Demon Blade as well. Why not?
Sure. Yeah.
Evil shall be cleansed.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
And then you can see that that Strength of Fire bonus as well.
I don't know, buddy.
Attack speed.
I don't know, buddy.
Also a really good
I don't know.
time to show off something
I don't
was
know.
talk about
I
a little
don't
later in
know.
the quality of life section, but I think we're kind of showing it right now.
know about that.
We now have a new
I don't
version
know
with
about
hit marks.
that.
So there will also be a sound tied to the hit marker that's just a little bit in progress right now that will be coming soon.
I don't
and then
know,
right there
man.
you saw the kill marker.
killed.
So when you, so when you get a kill, it also shows it right in the middle of the screen. So it's really easy to see when you're hitting and when you're getting kills. And with the audio feedback too, we've seen some mock-ups of it. The sound should be coming tomorrow, I think, in our dev test. It should just feel a lot more like I am making impact on things. And it's a lot more obvious what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's also nice, like if you drop if you're like playing a character that drops like a tick field and you drop it behind you, you can actually like tell that your opponents are actually chasing you because they're getting ticked by it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then also, you will be able to change the color of your reticle in the settings menu. You can choose between white, cyan, green, or red. You can change the thickness of your reticle in the menu. And that's it for the reticle stuff. So there's a lot more other stuff in this update, but the new hit marker plus kill marker, change color, change thickness should be good feeling for everybody. We were also just talking this morning about currently we're still hiding your reticle when you pull up an ability targeter, and we might make a separate setting that lets you leave that on while you pull up targeters if you're the kind of person that would like to see that. So.
Yeah, lots of quality of life stuff going in,
and that's just the start of it.
I know, right? Yeah, we haven't even gotten.
I did not even think this was going to make this patch, and then Charlie was just like, "Oh yeah, that's in." I was like, "Wait, really?" So like we did. That's why the audio wasn't in yet, because I was like, "Oh no, we don't have to worry about that for this patch." So it's pretty cool.
Cool. All right.
I wish I could figure out. Hello, please. Hello. Holy fuck.
Kilgun's like, I'm waiting because I know what's coming up.
Yeah.
Annoying.
So as part of this update, we're shipping an all-new Q screen.
And you might notice some things that look a little bit different as we get here.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that looks
should
nice.
be a very easy to understand, straightforward screen. So if you want to queue for normal, you would click. It's actually say classic. It's not going to say unranked. Click classic, and then click the mode you want to queue for.
Yeah.
And it's that easy.
It's
good. Easy.
That's clean.
Super straightforward, easy to understand. I think the style of this also looks pretty darn good.
Yeah.
People are like, King Arthur, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we have a lot of great art from Smite, and we're like, we should use the great art from Smite to make these queues look cool. So, every god is going to come over eventually. Obviously, there's some gods featured here that aren't in the game yet. And then we also have moved Duel into the competitive section just because we thought it flowed better. It was easier to understand. I think that's most of what's. If you go to one of the big things about this too is that we've moved the custom queue screen to our faces are covering it.
Oh,
but
that
button says custom down in the corner.
Let's see here.
So,
toggle on cams. There we go.
Yeah. If you want to play,
I'll get us out of the way.
If you want to play a custom, you would click on that now, and then you would create a custom lobby. This is kind of still the same UI that it was before because. But previously, the UI put such an emphasis on custom games and custom game browsers that a lot of new players thought that I'm supposed to be playing custom games.
Yeah, you'd see people making rooms and they just sit there with 1 out of 10 people and be like, I guess I'm supposed to be waiting for people to join.
You're like, no, this is not a server-based game where you make your own server and wait for people to join. No, you hit the queues. Yeah.
And then under training is your conquest tutorial, range tutorial, jungle practice, right? So it's still easy to get to all those things. And then the last thing I'll call out is that so versus AI actually goes a layer deeper. So you click versus AI, then you click conquest, then you'll pick which difficulty level you want.
Cool. Yeah.
So
that's cool. This looks
still
great.
get to pick difficulty level. It's just 3 clicks in.
This looks
great. We think this is a good layout for the screen in part because is the home screen safe to show right now?
I believe it is.
It looks great.
There might be a slight spoiler for another skin that we're going to talk about later.
That's
but
fine.
That's
fine.
That's fine.
Oh no, there's not even. Okay, so also as part of this, the button has changed. So you'll see it's just slightly different in style, but there's no longer a separate change queue button. You just click on the top part to change which queue you're in, and then you click play and click, and then the function of that will change. So should be a little bit more straightforward. We're still working on a couple things about this button in this presentation, but it's too high right now. There's some other things that are going to get better about this, but there will also be a different button interaction, and it will remember the last mode that you played, same as we're doing right now. So you don't have to go into picking your queue every time you want to play, but it should be a lot easier to pick queues and to understand what you're picking.
Yeah.
So
Is that it for Q screen?
I think that's it for Q screen.
Chat will get to it. I promise.
What is quick play? That's a good segue.
We'll get to it.
I'm just gonna go ahead and queue for it. I'm gonna hide cams because it will take me to the lobby. There are probably some stuff in the lobby that I don't want to show, but I'm gonna go ahead and queue for it, and I'll bring us back in game whenever I'm in game.
What? What? You give me a look.
Well, you're like there's a pause.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to be overly dramatic. I was just trying to think of the best way to start. So, quick play is an all-new style of playing that's coming to Smite 2 as part of this update. It's kind of an experimental testing ground to do a number of new things. The number one goal of quick play, like I said, is to be this experimental ground and to see both how new players and existing players react to some potentially bigger changes to the core
accelerated
Smite
game.
formula.
It's not Slash. It's not Slash. Nobody's bringing Slash over.
In this first out, we're going to have Quick Play Arena. And Quick Play Arena is going to be the default queue for new players because we want to know how new players react to playing the game with these changes. Once you get to a certain level, you'll unlock the normal casual queues. Once you get to another higher level, you'll unlock the competitive queues, same as always. But this will be the new default because we want to see how it affects
like a
new
tutorial,
players and
but still
how they react to some of
competitive,
these
where
things.
it dumbs down the
But
game
a lot of these
exceptionally,
features are
makes
things
it
that we think
faster.
could escalate and leave the quick play queue and become part of core Smite over time, possibly very soon if people are like, this is amazing and we should just do it. But we wanted to try these things in a safe place first.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did I describe that fairly well?
I think that's good. It gives us an opportunity to also just like, there's some things that like we'll debate internally about, does this feel good, does this not feel good? And when you're talking about disrupting a whole bunch of core existing players' feels about how the game is, it feels really weird to like try and move that into that mode, where this mode is largely it's going to be focused on new players, and they'll be a really good litmus test for how things just feel as a gut reaction. And it also gives people who are existing players the opportunity to try them out and give us
technically
feedback
ranked,
on it,
although it already
rather
does
than
have
being in the
leaderboards
middle of
on
their
Smite.
Ranked conquest
Technically,
experience, right?
so
Yeah.
if that
we'll
there's kind
take
of no difference
big
in ranked.
swings here.
Yes.
It has a
Big swings.
leaderboard.
I
It
keep talking
has
about big swings.
MMR,
This is where
SR.
you'll see
It
most
shows
of those start out.
whatever. So
Alright.
it's technically ranked
so
already.
Let's
if you
take
think
a look
about
at it, shall we?
And I will say, why is it called quick play? Somebody asked. It's called quick play because we want to make, like, the match itself should be faster.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the thing. So we'll get into the whole shebang here.
All right, cool. Well, I am bringing up the handy dandy desktop, and immediately something's different.
Yes. So the first thing you'll notice is you actually are going to choose a build, and this isn't just auto build. And these text things are very simplistic in what they are, and we're working on the presentation of the screen. But the goal is here to just give a player an idea of what they're going to be doing in this match. So do you want to focus on crit damage, attack speed, or durability damage?
Let's crit.
Yep, so hit crit, and let's hope this works. If you hit I real quick, we can
Let's
see.
See if it worked.
Just see if it worked.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
let me come back.
You rejoin.
We're still a little.
Yeah, we're working on bugs right
Yeah.
now.
So, real quick, why are we doing this now? Where you have to pick a style of build at the beginning, and then pick your own items.
One of the
Because
it's only for this game mode. It's only for new
we tried to
people.
hide building for new players because we were like, oh, it's overwhelming. We don't want to like. They should
So
just
what
have fun
this
and play the game.
is it's an
But we've been
introduction
hiding one
to
of
the
our
game for new
biggest,
players that
like,
want to just play
selling
a quick
points for
play, where
why
you just
wanna
hop
play
in,
Smite.
you select
I mean,
I want to
it's
crit,
fun to come
and
up
it's
with a
going
build
to
and
do
theorycraft and to build
everything
against people.
for
So
you.
we're trying to make it
It's like, so it's just going to
easier
give you,
for new
here's the
players
first
to
items you want to buy. Do you want to buy this? You
understand,
click
like,
it, and you see the game is going
what's
much
the
faster.
fun in
Tickets
this
are going down
game
faster.
with items with
right?
a slightly simplified
So
way of
basically, think
approaching
about
it.
this
Yeah.
as
So
an
now what I'll do
interactive
is, as you play this match,
PvP,
you'll
but a
accumulate gold
tutorial
like
at the same
normal,
time,
and
to
then
where
when
you
have enough
would
gold,
play
it's
against
gonna
other
pop up on the
people's.
screen
It's
that says,
not
"Hey,
bots
pick
anymore.
one of these 3 items.
But
let's
it's
go."
just quick
Do
play.
you
I'm going to
want,
hop in.
strength,
I don't have to look at
and
the
we
whole
need to
list
fix
of
some the
items.
text
I
on
just
the
have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
look at,
Sometimes
oh, I
it's
want to
like,
crit.
this
All right,
needs to be
here's
in
an
the
item.
file,
Click
it's really
it.
weird
Go
text,
play the
it needs to
game.
be there 'cause that's not what it
It's going to
does.
end
But
faster.
essentially you're gonna
It's going
choose
to
these
you
descriptions
get you
and
into
go,
a
"Yeah,
game
that sounds really interesting.
faster,
Let's go."
I
so you don't
want
have to
rage.
sit there an
You pick up
entire
rage,
I'm
arena.
gonna go play.
You'll keep playing, and you've made a choice. You've kind of learned a little bit about what Rage does, rather than being just given it and you don't really ever learn the item. And then as you play, you're just going to continue to accumulate gold.
See how
You're gonna be
fast you're
presented
leveling
these
up, too?
options, and you'll just keep making a build based off what is presented in front of you. it means that you get to learn a little about the Smite item experience.
You're gaining levels very quickly, so it's an accelerated version of the game that gets you in the game, gets you levels quickly. Doesn't matter if you're not getting kills, you're leveling up faster than normal. It's giving you very easy building to do. This is literally just for new players
only.
As a quick play.
You cannot build normally in this mode.
Yes.
You are presented with 3
You cannot build
tier
normally
threes
in this
from a
mode.
pool that is selected by your initial decision.
Yeah.
And then you pick one of those 3 tier 3 items.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty
I 100%
straightforward
disagree.
system that should be easy for players to understand.
I don't
very
think that screen
roguelike,
will help. It's too
and
information
very
heavy. There's
understandable
no,
if you've played the
there's
other
no,
modern games.
no.
Um,
That
Cool.
statement
also
aligns
just
with your
the
name
volume
of
of the
defying
game.
logic.
Oh, yeah,
It's
one
super
second.
loud.
Yeah.
It's
Also
literally
just
as
really cool
simple
quick
as it
things.
can
It
be.
also has a lot of
Here's
support
3
back and forth
options.
to, like,
Do you
adjust
want a
probabilities
crit?
and
Do you
things,
want
and
attack
also,
speed?
like,
Or do you
ways
want
for you to
ability
deviate.
damage?
So, like,
That's
if you pick the ability
that's
side,
not.
we
You
might
couldn't
suggest
make
the
that
rage
any
still and be
simpler.
like,
I don't
hey,
even
rage
know
is
what you're
interesting.
talking
And
about.
If you pick rage, it actually says, okay, cool.
This
Death
is
Ring now on
intended
the
for the
table
new
you.
player
So that
experience, for
later
new
on,
player
we can give you
retention.
high
There's no
chances
point in
of
marketing the
getting
game until you get new
kinda
player
deviate
retention.
people.
This is 100% for
tries
new
to
player
support
retention.
things that
You
you try to
couldn't
do.
dumb down the
It
game
also
more than they
supports
did with
Vulcan,
those
which I
3
wasn't
options.
expecting this patch. So Vulcan actually has, like,
So I don't
his
know
roguelike
what you mean
trajectory
with
at 1,
there's
7,
two.
and
It's too
14
information
actually
heavy.
works.
What is
Which is
information
just
heavy
really
about
cool.
3 options
And
with
it's
1
just
sentence
I think
each?
this is going to be a fun way for new players to just get into the action immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say, somebody says, well, I know how to use items. I should be able to build the way I want to build. This is one of those systems that, like, I don't foresee us bringing
no, this
a
would not-
full roguelike building
costs
system into
hundreds of thousands
the
of
normal
dollars.
queues ever.
It needs to be
But
more
we may
simplified
add, like,
with the
a
text.
separate
It is
tab of the
one
of the screen
sentence.
which
What are you
presents
talking
items in this
about?
way so
It
that
is
if you're
one
used to this style of
sentence. How
building,
could you
can
get
transition
more
easily into
simplified?
playing the
Yo, I'm
more
getting rage
classic
baited.
gameplay
I'm not
if you
responding to you
want.
anymore.
Yeah, it's all about getting.
I'm getting
people
rage
to-
baited. We're recording a video.
It's-
Moving
it's
on.
With Autobuy, you could turn on Autobuy and then never look at it again.
You
and
never
learn
pay
a
attention to
single
the
one
items.
item.
You don't know
If
what
Defy
they do.
wants it to pop up and just go,
It
me
gives us a
crit,
clear path that when people
me
do move
attack.
outside of this mode, they can have something that feels familiar to them. But
Defy
still
wants
have
it to
the
pop
full
up with
depth
one
available
word
for
saying me
everybody
crit
for it, and be
instead
way
of
better equipped to actually
critical
experience
attack
it.
damage.
Okay,
Like, what are
so
you talking
that's the first
about?
thing. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff in quick play. The second thing, can you push the shift button?
Sure.
Yep. You have a little micro dodge. If you are looking at that, it's on the relic thing right now. That's a bug. It's not
Yours
supposed to
is
be on
already
the
more
relic thing.
complicated than what they
but
have.
there is another bind for you to use, which is this little.
If you
combat
think
dodge.
if you
Yes.
think 6 words instead of 3
we
words is too
like the
complicated, then
idea
that's a
of
skill
giving
diff people might need to
players
head to a new game
more
that
tools
doesn't
to
have
be
any
able to
reading
play
like
the game
Fortnite.
with.
Yes.
If somebody
and to
thinks
do
a
things
MOBA
that
like that is
lean
too
a little
complicated
bit
because it
more
has 6
into
words
the
on what you
actiony,
build in the dumbed down
fun
version of it, then
aspects
they need to
of
go play
Smite.
Fortnite, brother.
This is obviously a big change to the game. Giving
1 word or
everybody
2 words.
a
If you
dodge
can't handle
is
6 words, you need to
crazy,
not play a MOBA.
right?
You need
I
to go
have
play
dodged
Fortnite.
a lot of abilities, and maybe it doesn't feel good when your ability is being dodged. But the fun thing is that everybody has this, right? And you know, like, you can play around it in a way that, like,
Interesting.
I think the best corollary to this is like combat blink, right? People
Yeah.
like
No, I'm
being
not
able to
rage baiting, then I
reposition in the
just
middle of
couldn't disagree
combat,
more.
But repositioning in the middle of combat when it was sometimes asymmetrical,
Yeah.
when it was hard to read how people were moving and hard to play around was harder for us to be cool with. But this has been really fun in our playtesting and has been something that, like, we've playtested this in Conquest and it's been fun. But we wanted to give it a first try here in quick play as this experimental thing to where we may eventually, include this in another mode.
play.
I would say you can't do it while you're crippled.
Yeah, it follows the same rules as like any other dash ability would. So if you're
I don't
crippled,
mind them
silenced,
trying
you can't
stuff
use
here.
it.
I don't know
It
how I
doesn't
feel
do
about it, though.
iframes. It doesn't. It has a few other small features, like for example, if you're running forward, if you just hold running forward.
Yeah, Defy,
so
you're in
already
the
still are
minority
kind of
then
moving
there, brother.
faster.
A lot of
That's
people
something
do
we're
like to
experimenting
do
with.
that, or they
We've
just
also
look up a
talked about,
build.
like,
But again,
expanding on the system
if
more
you
to try more
think
experiments, like
if
maybe
you think
different types of
somebody
ships get different types of
if you think
these
somebody
abilities where
pressing a single
the way they
button
move is slightly different.
to
Range
buy
is
an
the
item
melee
based
characters
off
right now,
6
actually.
words that just
The
say
melee dash is actually a bit
crit
stronger than the
damage,
range character dash. So this is
ability-based
just a lot of room
damage,
for us to explore
auto
this
attack
type of thing.
damage, attack
Obviously, cooldowns
speed.
very low,
If
but
that's
we
too
wanted to make
much,
it
that's
a
I don't know what to
powerful
tell you.
thing that players interact with again, because we're just seeing how this feels to actually have in the game in
Yeah.
a mode that's really safe for us to experiment with this stuff, and it also gives new players coming
Yeah,
in
they're
a
just
bit more of an
testing it
active
in this
feel to see how
mode,
they feel
but
about it.
yeah.
And right now the UI is bugged, right? It shouldn't
Yeah.
be displaying on top of
Yes.
the beads.
My
That's something that
relic,
we'll be
yeah.
fixing before it goes live. It does not give you iframes while you're dodging.
Correct.
It just lets you reposition. and
And it's 8 ways, so it's you can backwards, you can left, right.
Yeah. So that's one of my crazy things. Another thing which you have been seeing this whole time, but perhaps have not realized it, is that in quick play, your auto attacks are traveling slightly faster.
Yep.
This is basically the same as if you had Griffin Wing Earring in Smite 1.
Correct.
So we feel like there is room for base attack speeds to move slightly faster so that they feel better. So, you know, maybe it's a little bit easier to hit, but there's still some counterplay to it, especially with dodging now, right? But it just makes playing the game feel a little bit better for new players in a way that felt good for Smite
I don't need a
previously,
bar
right?
there that says
Because like Griffin Wing Talon
crit
or Griffin Wing
damage
Earring didn't break the game. Just
minus
increasing
or
the auto
crit
attack speed slightly
damage. It
could
doesn't-
potentially
like
be
somebody
another
adding by
way that
this
we're experimenting
four
again in this
having
mode
it be
to
4
see how
more
it feels.
words and 3 is not going to affect
And
anybody's
then
ability
I think
to
the other thing about
comfortable
quick
playing the
play
game.
is you can tell the game's actually about to end.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's probably actually a little fast.
I'm gonna lose
right
my
now.
mind.
We're talking about like the actual tuning. Like we need to do some things to tune the speed of this, but it is meant to be faster than a standard arena match, as well as it's a lot more accelerated in the amount of gold and experience you get. And the death timers are a lot faster, so that you just get back into the action more. Again, the goal is
We lost.
You get into this, you have a relatively quick
thing I downloaded
experience.
that update.
I think we're looking about 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Good thing I downloaded that update. I don't know how to fix it now.
Make sure that it fits that mark. We're in the middle of doing a balance pass now right now.
Yeah. Chat has a good question. How does this work on console? On console, this is going to be bound to, I believe, the same button
buddy.
as
Cancel, yes.
cancel skill. So if you do not have a targeter out, then that button is dodge. We played around with a lot of things. That was a button that we've always had in the back of our head as if we were to do something like this would be a really good home for it. So it's a pretty obvious face button. It does mean you can't dodge while you have a targeter out, but you probably would want to cancel that targeter anyway at first.
Yeah.
So that should be pretty good.
Yep. And then I think another note that someone brought up about like, isn't this just a buff to like ADCs? Well, one, it's for quick play only, so it doesn't affect anything outside of that. But two, if this were to expand out because people like it,
I think it's happening
we would
again.
be looking at how to make that
Like,
work.
I don't know how to
we're
fix it.
already
I
in
fixed it
talks
a long
right now
time
about,
ago
like,
and
range
whatever.
characters, making the auto attack the thing that they primarily use feel really, really good.
I
with the
downloaded
goal.
an update
Melee
and it
attackers
jacked up
also
my
have
audio
room
again.
for improvement too in ways that they feel they could get different types of advantages. There could be different trade-offs that are made. If any of this stuff moves out of quick play, which again, it's just an experiment bed, if people like it, we can talk about moving it out of that. It would come with the suite of things that need to be done to also support it, right? Like if you just make every hunter auto attack 40% faster and you release that out into ranked, it's a hunter meta almost instantaneously, right? And we're aware of that, right? That's why it's like running this test of how does this improve the feel for players who are just playing the game for the first time. If you bring it to everyone, it will just fundamentally ruin the ranked experience because it would completely upend the balance. But if we know that it has legs to continue iterating on and exploring on,
I'm going to turn off Clearcast AI noise cancellation and see if that does
Do you want to do the next
Yes,
piece?
let's do it.
So
maybe if something else is so loud, it's trying to cut out me instead of them. So I'll turn that off and see if that works.
Making a change to action cam.
Cool.
To push the game again even more into a more familiar place for people who have. Oh, you don't have your reticle. That's weird.
If you cast your ability, it might turn on.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to try and make it even a little bit more familiar for people that are familiar with other kinds of games, and this lets you do something really fun. Can you aim up? So this may seem very awkward to people who have played a lot of Smite 1 as it, or Smite 2 as it is, right? But if you are used to playing more third-person shooter type games, your aiming feels so much more natural in this kind of experience. Because Smite has a very awkward style of aiming anything by default. Because you are controlling your character,
would you be able to?
but
Yeah,
where
I don't.
you are shooting
I
is
don't know.
always forward from your character, and it is not where you are looking. This is extremely mind-breaking to a lot of new players, and we've gotten feedback from a lot of people that it's just that is something that people cannot get used to. So this is a change that will allow you to play more like you are used to if you are coming from a different game, and all of your abilities still work the same. They still still lines along the ground, still circles on the ground, right? This is for basic attacks only. Can now be aimed
I don't
up
know.
and down, and can you can miss by aiming too high or too low. Again, this is an experiment. We want to see how people feel about it.
I don't know.
But we're more willing to make some crazy experiments like this and see how people react, right?
What's chat saying?
And if we get feedback from people like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Then there's more that we can do to make this have even more gameplay meaning, to be more interesting. I will say,
I don't know how I feel about
this exclusively in our internal playtest since we got it in.
Yeah.
And I have played Hunters, I've played, I played Mercury, I've played a lot of different characters, and it feels pretty darn good, and I have not noticed a significant drop-off in my ability to play the game. There are definitely some times where, you are going to be hit by somebody behind you or close to you that you wouldn't see in this view, but I find it a lot easier to keep track of what I'm shooting and where I'm shooting, and because of that, I haven't noticed a big fall off in my performance. Again, if you're a top level ranked player, probably not the view for you. Same as the last version of Action Cam. You picked up the fireworks.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so this is a pretty different experience.
Yeah, this one is not tied to quick play. This is just tied to a specific camera setting. So this is more of like if you choose to turn on the setting, you actually have access to it.
If it's good for new players, cool. Don't care.
The expectation is it's not going to be for everyone.
If it's cool, if it's good for new players, cool.
The people who want to try it and turn it on.
Hate.
I think we said that last time.
If it's cool for new players,
we've learned a lot about how to make sure that actually
Sure.
happens. But again, that's
cool.
Just stating our intent.
I don't like this.
Cool.
Anything else with quick play?
I think that's it. And like we said, this is not tied exclusively to quick play. You can equip Action Cam and use this camera view everywhere. But all the other things that we've talked about as part of this quick play segment are quick play specifically.
Yes. Can you aim at jumping people? Just to answer a few questions, you can't aim anything that's not basic attacks up or down. So if you raw ult the sky, it will not aim up into the sky. It's still going to fall on the ground. So you can't also throw like Aladdin ult at someone up in the air. If they're in the air, you can't aim at them to hit them. Again, Smite is not built to support aiming up at people. So this is really just to get if you are a person used to experiencing this type of aiming style, it's a bit more...
it feels more natural.
It feels more natural to people who are like, this is the way that they're used to playing a lot of other types of games.
You can't hit people in the air at all. This is literally just to... If people come from another game, this is just going to make them feel more comfortable about the controls and whatnot. But I don't... I need a dono amount for Action Cam, $100 per game.
And then if that's not the case, then we'll know, and we can
$100 per, $100 per game.
Again, when we say swing big, there are gonna be some things we do that you're like, well, why would you ever try and do that? Some things are gonna feel.
And if you give me $100 and I do it and I hate it, then it's going up to $200. And then if I do it again and then I hate it, then it's going up to $400, and it doubles until I feel like the amount is reasonable.
There is not a like a zoom or an FOV slider, but that's something that we are willing to explore in the future, depending on how the initial feedback to this is, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that chat has said several times is, what if I am...
All of this, Matt, the only thing before, I'm saying I don't like this, okay? That's fine. Just the only thing that matters with this is you can opt into it. You don't have to play this.
At some point,
and
this
and the quick play mode and like the little dash to the side that you can do is all tests, and it's all to try to get new player retention. That's all that matters. You don't have to use this. You don't have to use Action Cam ever. You don't have to play the quick play mode, right? This is only for new players, and if this brings more people to the game, it's better for us even if we never opt into using any of it. That's it, right?
Cool.
I'm saying I'm never using that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm never using that. I'm never playing quick play. But if this keeps new people and helps improve player retention,
our upgrade to
it's okay. That's why it's a test. It's a beta. That's why it's a test.
So far, it's been running on Unreal Engine 5.5. You as a player will most likely notice this.
Does this bring more people to play?
less PSO
Nobody
caching
will
hitches,
know. It's all about new player retention.
You may notice improved performance.
I don't know,
on your
Defy.
PC.
This I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this or what they could do better. I have no idea.
It kind of depends on your setup. We would love to hear from Flash Test. If you happen to play on PTS, what your performance is like, and if you notice anything seriously wrong or not great, because this is a big engine change for us. And we will also do have further like optimizations that we literally have in dev right now that just won't be on PTS later today. So there are some more optimizations yet to come. Next, I'm going to talk about audio stuff because that's also hard to show.
Let's get to it.
Okay, so we have changed the hit attenuation sound for basic attacks. So you will now hear your hits at full volume even when at max distance. So previously, if I'm Cupid and I'm shooting arrows, it's quiet if I'm hitting somebody far away and it's louder if I'm hitting somebody near me. Now you will hear that at the same volume level regardless of how far away they are, which should make it easier to know when you're hitting somebody in addition to the hit marker.
Even though I don't like the action cam and I will not play the new game and I will not use that little dash thing, the whole point isn't whether I think this will be good for new players. That's irrelevant. The question is as they get new players, what does the data show? That's what matters. And they're doing tests during beta. I'm not opposed to it. I might not like some of this stuff.
Are still going to be the same volume level they were previously. Your enemies are going to be.
Doesn't it make sense? Yeah, I just don't know how to answer it.
Used to be, and
like, yeah, they could do something like that. I didn't even know they were doing this or why it matters.
To try and get people to hear what you are doing better.
They're trying to improve new player retention, and that's a good thing.
We've also redesigned Emir's basic attack hits with the volume increase, which is kind of a test to see how do you feel about this revised Emir basic attack sound. Because we are.
This is just a test. If they do that action cam and everyone that plays it now plays less,
attacks,
then they would just take it out.
Basic attacks
right?
In particular,
if that keeps people here longer, that's better. If they bring all these people in,
that's something that's really missing.
Think about this. If they bring all these people in, and all these people just stay on this action cam in arena on quick play for the rest of their lives, and this increases the player base by 10,000 over a 2-year period, W. If it doesn't increase the rank mode, doesn't bring blah blah blah. It's more people playing the game. That's a W, right?
Cool.
As long as I'm not forced to play that, and I can play Smite the way Smite is, in my opinion, intended to be played, then I'm cool. Is this changing the way the future of Smite is intended to be played because the majority might not be playing the way I play it anymore, and that could be frustrating? Yeah. But it...
Pull it up and
what is your prediction? I don't like the idea of influencing players to play the game on a way that it's not intended to be played. You can use something like the example of the Xbox controller setting where you have to use A, B, and X and Y as part of like your abilities, and I don't think that's good. But people won't switch to Savage, even though it's the better.
Okay, I was about to say might actually show better. Okay, so when you stop shooting for a second. Okay, so when you highlight a character, that character is still red in the way that they were previously, but it is only the outline of the character, and it does not fill the interior of their model. So if you get a little bit closer, you can see this a little bit better. So it's just this outline, so it doesn't obscure the character as much. If you are looking at a god that you can see through a wall, that will still be full of red, but this should just make the game look a little bit better.
If I was still on controller, I'd still be on Challenger. Exactly.
Understand who you are looking at with your.
So introducing people to something, they're less likely to change once they learn something.
Actually, attack somebody.
So if they learn on action cam and they learn on bad settings and they learn on quick play where there's little dashes and faster auto attacks,
the kind of white flash.
I think
so. And we're still fine tuning this.
Is going to influence them to never move on to play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and that's frustrating.
But generally speaking, we need
if it brings enough people to the game to where the game survives and makes them money.
This is not just gods. This is also.
How can I say anything bad about it?
I'm not sure if it works on the totem. But it works on towers for sure. Yeah. It works on jungle camps.
How can I say anything bad about it if it increases new player retention, and then with those new players, you do get some that convert to the way that Smite's supposed to be played, right?
Yeah, and there was for some things they didn't have.
I think it sometimes de-incentivizes people to ever do the change that influences them to come play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
So now the fact that they don't,
I don't like trying to reinvent Smite because I think the reason that Smite does well, but also at the same time they need new players.
You also have a red flash when you're getting hit. If you want to get hit by the jungle camp again,
I just killed it.
If you do bot shoot space 5, that would also do it.
And so again, just hey, hey, I'm being hit, red reaction there.
Cool enough.
So we have another thing that you have been seeing this whole time, but maybe you haven't realized, is we have changed the placement of damage numbers and how visible they are. You did this work, so maybe you could explain a little bit more.
Very briefly, the goal is that above the health bar of the target, that's where the damage number should appear now. Before, depending on the god's height, and it ended up being over the health bar, and it could render on top of the health bar. Now it should be pretty consistently above the health bar, and it should actually respect the character's like different capsule heights as well. There was a lot of issues before where, based off how it was implemented and how it tried to project into the world, it would work for some things really well, but not other things really well. We fixed it so that we can actually have more per unit control because we have a lot of units of different sizes. So the mini wave also had this adjustment. So it should just help with clarity of like seeing the damage number above the person that you hit above their health bar. We've also changed a little bit of the default sizing of these things. There are some cases where like the numbers could become really small to where you can tell what they are. There's now kind of a more consistent floor. And then also a lot of rules around like how, when a lot of multiple events happen, how they stack on top of each other from like the same type of actor, how they spread out a little bit. There's been some adjustments there, but the biggest is the placement.
Yep, and we also have added a new settings option to scale the size of your numbers.
Yes.
So if you want them to be a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, you can now make a change in the settings and change that yourself. Okay, I think that's it for that one. Let me see if there's anything else in-game to look at right here, or if there's other things I just need to talk about that aren't in-game.
Can you turn the hit marker on/off? I think that's, if you turn off the reticle, it's
there's a separate like I think it's called dynamic reticle or something that allows you to turn it off.
Them lighting up when they're hit, I actually
I
don't
think
really
that's
like.
most of the in-game stuff.
Them lighting up when they're hit, I don't know if I really like.
If you go back to
more flashing and more
you don't have
busyness from a
ready to show it.
visual
Okay,
standpoint
cool.
on top of the busy abilities we already
you
have
now
in
will get
animations is going to
notifications
kind
when
of just
your
be too
friends
much.
log in, so it should help you be aware of like, hey, a person that I am friends with is logging into the game, so that should help. There's a new button to very easily open up sending messages to your friends on Steam from your friends list. There's also been some fixes to the friends list, which should better reflect if your friends are actually online and what they're doing. So hopefully those all feel good. And so somebody said, it doesn't matter if we can't see if they're in a game. Yeah, that should be fixed. That should be part of this. And we are also adding some party management functions to the 3-dot menu in the end of match lobby. Cool. So you can now add people to your party from, or invite them to the party from the end of match lobby. So it should be a lot easier to party up with people and to keep playing with people that you had fun with.
Yeah, a lot of social improvements there.
Yes. There are 2 new bots. There is Medusa and Ganesha.
And that Medusa bot is a menace, chat. I am telling you, like she has been going ham in our
if you get
playtest.
Medusa bot, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yes. We have. Are you still in game? Are you on the home screen?
Yeah, I'm on the home screen.
Okay, go to the home screen real quick. Yeah. This is maybe a minor one, but if you notice on the rotators, they now have arrows to make it easier to go left and right, and we made the buttons bigger so they were easier to click on. We got feedback that it was just really annoying if you wanted to go back and look at something.
They
like,
are aware of that
on.
request evolution.
It should be a lot
we talked
easier
about that recently.
to click through. There is a new, I don't know if you can see it in dev. We have new, well, you don't have legacy gems, so not really. We do have new purchase buttons, which should better reflect like that you're saving off the diamond price by spending legacy gems, but harder to show off with this setup right now. We've added close buttons to the acquisitions pop-up.
Yeah,
the
I'm the
daily
same
login
way.
screen.
Some of
that
these
every
changes
screen now should have a close
close
button.
I think
So you
overall
will not be stuck on screens anymore wondering what to do.
lead
There's now a
to
close or continue on every screen.
better. This is good for new players type thing. So
there's an event for Independence Day.
Yeah.
You saw
the fireworks earlier
in-map.
today. Yeah.
It's very similar to the egg event. You just pick up some fireworks and you'll get something for free. I
Yeah,
think it's
a
a
global
special
emote,
global
yeah.
emote. Yeah. And we have skins and we have balance. And I think that's pretty much everything. We're not sure
Lots
we're
and
not
lots
missing
of quality of life improvements for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, tons of stuff already.
They're already giving
hop in
us
and start
Wandering
talking about the new
Markets,
Traveler?
Yeah,
Traveler
let's talk
pages.
about the Travelers.
Sweet. I have got the Beach Babe Traveler up first just because Beach Babe Aphrodite has been a consistently requested classic skin in Smite 2. And she's coming back
I wonder
as a
why,
kind of a
chat.
Traveler here. And again, these screens are kind of work in progress.
Yeah,
but
the art is not done for the actual prisms. It's just temp. But
Yeah, actually, I saw the FAR. It looks really good.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Why is
of
this
course,
highly
if
requested,
you buy
chat?
the Premium Traveler, you will get Beach Babe Aphrodite for free. You will also get the
There you
Beach
go.
Vibes
Look,
only
ways to spend your
badge
coins,
in
buddy.
this collection, and the Inflicted Jealousy Tracker, a new tracker for Aphrodite. The
In my
total
good
time
Christian Smite games.
Aphrodite has made her allies jealous by kissing an enemy, finding a new soulmate,
In my good
or by
Christian
triggering
Smite
undying
games.
love. So it's cool. I believe this is the first time we've had a tracker in a Traveler, which is cool.
Yeah, and I would say also like on the model itself, I believe that the team did a little bit of work to like further update that from Smite 1 to make it look better. Like it wasn't just a direct straight port.
Yeah,
course anymore.
the
And they also
recolors
went the
on
extra mile
skins
to
were a
make
very good idea, right?
unique
It's like
swimsuits for
Yes.
each
you can
prism.
still
Let's
give-
talk about the prisms
you can
here.
still
The
give
first one
the players
is
their skins for
Aqua
free
Splash.
that they are waiting
And the
for,
brand
and then
new
you can just
swimsuit
sell
for Beach
recolors
Babe
if people
Aphrodite.
want them, right? It's
Sick.
a great idea. It's a fantastic idea.
The next one is
Right?
White Sands.
Everyone's like, I want my free skins,
I
so
love
they
the
give
white
them
and
to
the
you,
pink.
but now you can
And
buy
then,
recolors. Yeah, it's
last
very
but
good.
not least, Midnight Cove Beach Babe Aphrodite.
Yeah, so 3 kind of fully different outfits.
It was really
as
hard to
prisms.
do in
So
UE3.
kind of pushing how far we can take prisms.
It was
and
much
we definitely
harder
won't
to do
always
in
this,
UE3 and
but,
just didn't look as
the
good.
team
That's
thought
why.
it was a good opportunity and seemed cool.
Yeah, and the prisms for this next Traveler are insane. So I'm gonna pull this back to cams really quick. while I bring up the
Calm
screen.
down, chat. Calm down.
Next Traveler also, we're kind of experimenting what it means to be a prism and how far we can take something from the base skin
Calm down.
while
calm
still calling it a prism.
Yes, so we've got Chef Special Kefri is
Yeah.
back.
down. Oh baby.
Everybody loves the lobster.
Oh yeah.
Again, this art is temp because we have better art that is going to be in game tomorrow probably in the next build.
And then in this Traveler, you've got the Chef title and the Grill Master badge, but of course you will get the classic skin for free if you purchase the Premium Traveler.
You can
But the
buy every
prisms
classic
are
skin with
sick.
legacy
The
gems,
first
yes.
one
As
is,
long as it's not one that
Beach
was part
Blue.
of like a
Yeah,
divine
so
legacy
as you
thing
notice,
in
he
Smite
doesn't
1
have
where
hat,
you
and
had
he
to buy
doesn't
it to get it in
have the
both.
butter, right? We experimented with taking some things out of some of the skins and adding some things to
That's
other ones
creepy.
based on what we thought would look cool.
That's creepy.
And this is actually modeled after a specific real kind of like
the
lobster.
super rare blue lobster. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is Bumble Sea.
Yeah, again, a rare, real kind of lobster with some extra, extra.
These are cool.
Stuff
This is just cool
on it.
ideas. Just giving us the
Next one
skin
is,
for free and
Storm
allowing
Tide.
us to.
Yeah,
This is cool.
I like this one. a
I
lot.
These
know.
are
I think
these are
it's my
fantastic
favorite.
ideas.
Yeah, this one's great. The last one is definitely
These are
my favorite.
fantastic
Yeah,
ideas.
because
Give
all of it's
give
kinda
the
crazy.
give
The
the
last
people
one
the
is
Smite
called,
skins for
Razzle
free if
Shade,
they owned it in
and,
Smite 1,
I'll let
right?
chat
Or for
have
Legacy
5
Gems,
seconds
and then
to
let us get
envision what
some
it's gonna
dope
look like before I
recolors and Yeah, this is great.
Here you go. Hindi used this in a playtest the other day, and I was like, "What the heck is this skin, yo?"
This reminds me of like I would play exclusively the.
It does look cursed. You're not wrong.
The raw skin where he looks like cracking and glowing, and there's like a similar Freya skin that was just like pure rainbow, just to have that visual for my
Yeah,
enemy.
and yes, chat. The colors do change like this while you're in game. It's super sick. The
Yeah.
team did an outstanding job on this prism.
Yeah, and just if you are newer to Titan Talk and the new format of these Travelers, right? The classic skins will be available for Legacy Gems once the Traveler is complete. So you can still get the skins for Legacy Gems. Basically, right? If you buy the Traveler, you're getting all the prisms at a discounted price plus this extra stuff, and it's just kind of like a slightly early access way to get it.
Yeah. Well, those are our 2 Travelers.
So those
for the
aren't available
update.
for Legacy
And
Gems
that
right
cams,
away.
that way I can
After
go
the
to
Traveler's
God screen
sale is
and,
over,
pull up
where you get the
Scylla,
prisms
because
for
Scylla is
cheaper
getting
by
a
paying for
costume skin
diamonds,
in
then you
this
can get
update.
that.
Yeah, we're almost
If you
caught
don't
up on
want
the
the
costumes
Almost.
prisms and you just
Yeah.
want the free skin, you just wait until the
But,
sale is over, then you
this
can
is
get
one
it.
that we had been waiting for. This is.
You wanna do some
Trash
beer games?
Goblin
Yeah.
Scylla. So, and this
I
is.
thought I heard trash, and I thought you were just gonna stop there. I was like,
This is trash, you know.
This is
Yeah, this
trash.
is trash. Yeah, Trash Goblin Scylla. So this was a cross-gen skin from Smite
can do
1.
beer
So
games,
if you
yeah.
owned it in Smite 1, you will get it in Smite 2. And we did introduce some prisms for it as well because the team had a little bit of time and they thought it would be cool to make some prisms for it.
So the first prism is Pale Pest. A little
Cool.
white and purple action there. The second prism is Ruby Rummager.
this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
cool.
is great. I like this one. The red and green really complements each other. And then last for this is Possum Pink.
Possum Punk.
I don't love
Possum
these,
Punk,
but it's pretty
yes.
good.
It's very punk
I
style.
don't love these,
Yeah,
but like
this is
it's
great.
still
Yeah.
it's
So,
a good idea. These
you know,
recolors.
If this skin is your style, you'll be really pleased about it. This skin is not my style.
Not a fan of the
but,
recolors. That's how I felt.
You don't like the possums? That are
Not a big
people
fan,
on
but
the
like
team
you know,
were
it's
really
it's
excited
you know,
about
it's
this
it's
skin idea.
considering I
And so we
imagine the
made it. It's
workload of
cross-gen,
adding in a
so
few different
we
colors and
had to make it up with Smite
options.
too, and here it is. So hopefully you guys think it's cool because
Yeah.
I think that I
like
think
said,
in
some
terms
people
of
really like.
I
this
think in
skin.
terms of generating
It's
revenue,
just not my personal taste.
what they're offering for the price is
Sweet.
fair,
Well,
and there's a
goodness
lot of people that'll
gracious,
just
it
buy
feels
this
like,
for the sake of
we
buying
had
it. So I
so
think
much in-game.
from
Is
a
there anything
business
left on
standpoint,
your
these are
list
very this
for
is
in-game
very
Killian
good
before
ideas.
we
You don't have
pull
to
up
get
the
it.
balance stock
Doesn't
and
add
talk
anything.
about
Just
that?
hey,
We're
if you
at
want a
157
few different
and
colors
we
and
won't
whatever,
get to
cool.
balance.
Here,
Yeah.
if you don't,
So it won't be
don't
quite
buy
2
it.
hours. But okay, just to recap, the stuff we've talked about already. We talked about Mercury. We showed off Mercury's Ascension Pass. We showed off Nuwa's Aspect. We showed the new Quick Play mode, which includes a dodge button, faster basic attack projectiles, the roguelike purchasing, faster pacing, and the Action Cam 2.0, which isn't actually tied to Quick Play, but you know is kind of tied to it in terms of our experiments. We talked about how this upgrade will take us
Same,
to Unreal Engine
Inglorious.
5.5.
Some of
We
these
showed off the
these
hit markers
tests
and
do
kill
scare
markers,
me sometimes.
as well as the
I'm gonna be honest with you.
We didn't show off aim reticle
When
coloring,
it
we
feels
talked about
like
that,
they
and
potentially
being
could
able
be
to change the
trying
thickness.
to
We
move
showed
the
off the new
game
play
towards
screen
something
and
that
the
I
new
don't
queue
feel
screen.
like Smite is.
I didn't talk about something.
Oh.
It
there we
does
in the
give
lobby,
me a bit of
we're in
anxiety.
the
Like, oh
process
fuck! Like,
of
are we trying to
reframing
push this?
all
Like,
of
are
the
we
gods.
trying to change
So that,
Smite into
right now, some
these
gods are kind of
verticality
off-screen, some
type
gods are
games
too
and these
low,
new
and they just don't, like,
cameras
fill
because
the
everyone
space
else
well.
is doing it?
So we're reframing all of the gods.
And
in
I
the
think
lobby,
that's a big mistake.
as
But like I
kind of
said,
the
it's just a
first part
test.
of,
It's just for new
you know,
players.
a
But again, if a
multi-phase
bunch of new
project
players are
to
like, this is the
hopefully
way Smite
really
is
improve the
played,
lobby
at
presentation.
some point,
So
as
this is the
veterans
first step.
leave, when
I
does
don't
that
know if
actually
all of the
become what
gods have
Smite
been
is played?
reframed yet. There may be a few that need a little bit
Or
of
when
tweaking
does
still.
that become
But just
Smite
in
now
general,
to
they
people,
should
right?
look,
I don't know.
More impressive when you click on them. So,
I don't know.
that's something
I don't mind
right
them
now.
testing things. Obviously, new player retention
We
is
talked
important.
about the audio improvements, changing
New
basic
player
attack
retention is
attenuation,
important and
making
everything,
your
but
own sounds
it does
louder,
start to
and new
scare me a
physical
little
attack
bit
changes. We
with
talked
all
about
these
the
changes.
outline
It
for
feels like we're
targeting
trying to
players and hit
reinvent
reaction
Smite.
declaration, friend login
And
notifications,
I
the Steam
don't
messaging
want
button,
enough new
party
players to
management,
come
and
in
match
to
lobby.
where they just change
Damage
what
number
Smite
placement,
was to
visibility,
me and
the
us.
being able to scale the size of the numbers, new Medusa and Ganesha bots, new purchase buttons, the improved rotators.
So I
new
like
close buttons,
I like
Chef
the
Special Traveler,
I like the
Beach
new player
Traveler, the
retention
Trash
focus.
Goblin,
I think that's
Cross-Gen,
very
and the
important,
Independence
right?
Day event.
We can't just stay on one thing
Jeez,
until it
that's a lot.
dies
Yeah.
with
So
no
now it's time to talk
new
balance.
players.
Let's talk balance. Give me a second to bring up the balance stock here. Kilgun, I feel like you've been talking a lot, so we'll give you a little bit of a
Cool.
break, and me and Pon will talk balance.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. All right.
Kellen says that there's also announcer packs. We
Oh,
forgot to put
yeah.
on here. So
Nice,
it's
cool.
like at least 10 new announcer packs.
Sweet. Those will be added to the chest, I assume. But let's talk about balance, and I will bring us up. We'll kick off item balance first, Pon, but do you want to give us kind of like where we're going with this patch? What's kind of like the overview of where you're going here?
So a lot of the balance is going to be just targeted towards either characters who are underperforming or characters who are overperforming and just doing additional nerfs to them. There's only really one kind of major game-wide balance thing, which is we feel like after all our item changes, and we've done this a little bit, like we did the recent strength pass, they're like, this part of the game is probably a little bit underperforming. There are a few gods who are overperforming, but those are probably god problems, and we need to address the core underlying issue and nerf them. The next one is we do think that after all of the dust has settled, especially solo lane, bruiser, physical side itemization is probably suffering too much. Solo lane mages have been doing really, really well. We've taken some of their items down, and we think that they're probably actually at a good spot of power level. But we've just seen that generally the solo lane warriors, outside of a few, just don't compete as well. And we think that's partially an itemization problem, partially a per character level problem. So you'll see that we've buffed quite a few kind of more tankier or things that would actually fit well on a bruiser, as well as we'll talk about the per character balance that we're doing as well.
Sweet. Well, item balance up first. A couple of changes here. Berserker Shield, just increasing the physical procs by 5 from 15 to 20.
And these are going to feel light, but we also know that, like, especially when it comes to solo lane itemization,
We don't want to go too far in the other
it does
direction.
not take much to break it, and we wanted to let a lot of the dust settle before we did things that are too intense. Some items are getting slightly bigger adjustments because Berserker Shield has its place in some builds already, but it's just generically not good enough, whereas Gladiator Shield should be part of probably more core builds, and it was struggling more, so it probably needed more help, things like that. So Yeah, first off, Berserker Shield just increasing the protections. Makes sense. It just was underperforming. Contagion, this one's not so much targeted towards that, but it does affect them, which is this kind of anti-item wasn't really doing enough to justify its purchase. So increasing the health regen just makes it that you can sustain a lot more, but it also means that the cooldown reduction that we're getting when people actually use abilities and you actually get that CDR from it, we're doubling that in strength because we think this actually had quite a lot of room to go up in power.
Cool. Genji's Guard is up next, just increasing the magical procs by 5 and decreasing the passive cooldown by 5 seconds.
Yep, magical protection, especially like strong magical protection items. It's something that we'll probably look at more in the future. But Genji's Guard was an outlier where it was really underperforming, so making it so that it has more protection, has that decreased passive cooldown, just makes it more attractive.
Cool. Gladiator Shield up next, increasing the bonus damage on this item.
Yeah, so Gladiator Shield is kind of meant to be the really high protection
something into the ambassador Discord.
And it just wasn't doing enough. It was also really hard to fit into a
Berserker
build
Shield
really
buff,
time.
Contagion
Having
buff,
no damage
Genji's
until you got it meant that,
Guard,
like if you built it like third, you didn't have enough time to
buff,
really ramp it up.
Glad
By the time you get to
Shield,
late game options,
buff,
the
Life
payoff still wasn't good
Binder,
enough. So like
buff,
this is
Rune
hitting
Forge
kind of
buff.
both sides. Where if you want to flex it like by third item, this should be better. But as you get more payoff for it, it's going to be stronger in general.
Cool. Next up, we have a couple of recipe cost change for Lifebinder and Runeforged, both seeing some decreases there.
Yeah, Lifebinder, it doesn't really go with the rest of the notes about like
The King, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream.
It's really, really popular. We nerfed it quite a bit. We probably nerfed it too much, and this is just kind of a corrective back.
Yeah. And then Runeforged also seeing a decrease there.
Yeah, and that one's a pretty big cost decrease, and this is a really stat-efficient health and strength item, so this gives you a lot of bulk and a lot of strength out the gate, so this should be a lot better in general.
Yeah. And then last up for items, Shogun's Ofuda, increasing the magical prots and increasing the passive attack speed.
Yeah, and this is for more of those on-hit bruisers, so like your Bolognas of the world. This item was just not quite good enough to make it into those builds, even for those types of characters who could actually leverage
Those are
the
all
attacks
buffs.
really
They are
well.
all buffs,
This should
yes.
just generally feel better for them.
Yeah. All right, next up is a conquest change. Before we get into guides, we're making a change to the side teleporters. The side teleporters will now start disabled and will activate at the 10-minute mark. So these are the teleporters that are adjacent to the Harpy camps on the side lanes.
Brother,
not the ones
it
from base.
decreased the
We've
passive
seen a lot of
cooldown.
feedback
It's a buff.
in two different sides of this. One is that
It's
there's a
giving
lot of
you
farm
more
on those outside
protections
lanes. There's
and
a
more
lot of incentive
cooldowns.
to
What are you
go
talking
over
about?
there. But when you do go over there, there's a lot of immediate pressure
It's
you can
saying
provide
every
to when you're
15
seeing what
seconds
they don't
now
have
you
much
get the
feedback
3
that's
seconds for
that's
taking
gonna
magical
affect them.
damage instead of
And
20
so while
seconds.
you're
It
just
is
kinda
a
having
buff
your
to your
fun laning
cooldowns and your
matchup, Making
protections.
it really easily disrupted. We thought this was interesting to kind of shake up the laning phase, but over time it's become more and more of a, well, the soul laner is really strong, and now I have
Side
to put
teleporters is
super
now
passive
disabled.
over
Will
time
activate
because
at
they
10-minute
can
mark.
show up
W
annoying.
change.
This means
W
it's actually
change.
more
That
limited. You can still
way
get
jungle
two
pathing
different
can't
sides
just
of the map really fast
be
as the game goes on.
do
But
this,
that
go
laning
to the
phase
other
is gonna be a
side, do
bit
that.
more
That's a good
reserved,
change.
where
It's
if the soul
more
laner's gonna come over
strategic.
and help out a lane
That's a
that's
good
across
change.
the map,
Invest that
They got to
time.
invest that time.
Yeah.
It's really more the jungler and the mid laner.
Good
who are
change.
More generally responsible for kind of helping out each side of the lane as needed.
Yeah. Now we will move on to God Balance. Under nerfs, I have the Ganesha changes here that went live today, just in case people missed the
Movement
top of the
speed
show.
nerfed
The
by
aspect did get
5,
some nerfs
decreased
to the
damage
Ohm
by
ability to
5,
remove the protection buff
decreased
for
scaling
allies
by
themselves,
5%.
decrease the movement speed, and decrease the
Remove the
damage and
protections
intelligence scaling.
is important there.
Now for the main patch,
I
things
think
that
the
are
I think
in
if they
OB13,
nerf the movement
shifts
speed
up
down to
first,
15
Agni. Let's
or
talk
so,
about Agni. Aspect
that'd be
of
better.
combustion.
They fixed
We're gonna
blink.
be
Yes, they
decreasing
did fix the blink
combustion
bug. Yep.
damage.
They
And
fixed
then
the
we're gonna
blink bug
revert
and
a
the bug that
previous
created
change,
by the
where
fix.
we, are
Oh, my
decreasing
B, you're all
the
good,
cooldown
buddy.
From 20 seconds to 18 seconds.
Yeah, we did some
The way
previous
it's
changes
the way
to
it's worded sounds a
Agni
little
overall.
complicated when you see it go down like that.
affected base Agni a bit too much. It didn't affect combustion Agni enough, and so we're
All
kind of
good,
just
brother.
correcting that here.
I read
We're
that as
actually targeting more
cooldown.
directly
Yeah,
the
no,
aspect
no.
of combustion and bringing back some of that rain of fire power back to the base Agni kit. There's also a buff
All
to
good,
combustion
brother.
side. The cooldown is going to infect there as well. But
Increased
we think
combustion
this
multiplier
nerf to combustion ignite
damage,
stack
revert
multiplier
decreased
is going to
cooldown.
more than make up for that.
All right, buffs for OB13. Achilles up first. Shield of Achilles. We've increased the fallout
That's
damage
fine.
from 70%
Increased
to
combat
80%,
dodge
and then
by
increased the
20
damage
base
on
late
combat
game.
dodge.
That's
Yeah, so
literally
this should
nothing.
just help his laning phase overall, and it also means that as you get further and further,
That's literally
into the
nothing.
game,
That's
and you actually
literally
get ranks of
10
combat
total
dodge up
damage.
and
Like,
going, the
that's
base
a
damage gonna be
non-buff.
more, which means
I'll be
that he
honest
has
with
a
you.
bit more pressure in the later
That's a
stages of the game.
non-buff.
Again, we want to have
Receiving
the payoff
20
abilities
extra
more
damage from his
traditional
3 late
solo
game
strength-based
means
characters, melee
nothing.
characters in the solo
I
lane.
understand we're
think
saying,
Achilles-
like, why are
he
we
was one of
buffing
the-
him
we
more?
kinda just
That
kinda
is a
looked at Joey, who
non-buff.
was performing, who wasn't.
That's
Achilles
nothing.
was struggling.
It's 0 extra
Next
damage at
up,
level 1,
Bologna.
5
Buffs,
extra damage.
Scourge,
You're going to be
increase the
taking
heal, and then
fucking
Eagle's Rally, the
105
ultimate
instead of
increase in the
100.
damage
You
on
literally won't even
a more
notice that.
significant buff than I would say Achilles was.
Did he need a buff? I
Just
don't
the
think
extra
so.
speed is gonna be really,
I think
really
he's
good
actually
overall at
performing
Scourge, but
fine. I think
the
his
big thing here
statistics
is
might be
she's gonna
underperforming.
really threatening at level 5 now. The ult being 300 damage is a really, really massive
Increased
buff. It's gonna
heal
make
to
her much
10 at
more
all
threatening
ranks.
in
Now
lane phase. I think
that's
she
a
actually
buff.
scales into
Look at
lane
that
pretty
Achilles
well.
numbers.
She can be
Those
very
mean nothing.
effective
Okay.
anti-hunter, just
It's
in
an increase
general.
of 20 damage late
But
game.
that
That's it.
laning
Nobody
phase, She
cares.
felt like she got bullied too hard.
If you're getting hit by
She had a lot of
Achilles
deaths before.
with damage,
Just bring back some of that strength
you
and
don't care
damage.
about the 20.
All right,
Trust me.
Cerberus up next on the list. Stygian Torment.
Increasing the
cooldown
heal
on the
to
ultimate.
10
Yep,
at all
just
ranks,
we
that's
think that
huge.
This ability has room to come down. We think that
Decrease
it's the
cooldown
thing
of
he brings to
Cerberus
team
ult.
fights in general.
Increased
He was
damage
struggling a little
by
bit
20 base.
just across the game.
Okay,
Again, not too
early
much in
damage
regards
from
to the
Bologna,
solo
being up to
discussion.
300 at level 1, at level 5 of her ult.
Danzabuto.
That's huge. Late
Up
game doesn't
next,
matter that much.
Fool's Gold.
But that's-
decreasing
those
the
are big
cooldown.
buffs.
And then Aurora's Rocket, the ultimate, increasing the damage and the int scaling.
Yep, he's going to be doing a lot more now.
100 more damage early,
1,000
that's a
more
huge
ones is
buff,
obviously
too.
Really, really good, but especially the inside scaling, being that more like burst side of it versus the on hit. The on hit
That's
one's
huge.
really, really good because he gets a lot of clones if he wants to kind of go that playstyle route. But if he wants to actually go that more pure inside, this makes that a lot better. So it just gives him more incentive to go in a more dedicated route, and just helps the character who's been underperforming.
All right, up next for God buffs, Geb. A couple things. Rollout fixed an issue where the dash attack had more damage scaling than intended. And then Aspect of Calamity, we're going to be increasing the leap damage scaling from 50 to 75%.
Yeah, so I don't know too much about what the scale of this fix is, but that's going to end up being largely a nerf overall.
Yeah.
And then I assume the aspect changes there to actually
Nerf.
resolve that change. This one I wasn't too involved in, so I don't know specifically. Clumsy might be able to help me out in chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's largely where this one is.
Cool. All right, Hercules up next. Mitigate wounds at 3. Going to be increasing the heal and increasing the bonus protections.
Yeah, Hercules is an interesting character because he has struggled win rate wise and even pick rate wise. But when he is very strong, he has a tendency to bully the early games in a way that people really feel like he's contributing a ton, even though that doesn't translate as well towards the later stages of the game. So we've nerfed him before. We wanted to target a change that we thought would actually help him address some of those more late game problems in focusing on the amount of heal that he obviously gets from mitigate wounds and the amount of bonus protection he gets from items. So he should be a lot bulkier without us buffing directly his ability to kill people.
I have a
in the early
fucking
stage.
mustache hair that's just like
All right,
sticking
up
out.
next,
Stop.
let's talk about Hua Mulan.
Stay down.
Cross Strike. We're going to be increasing the damage. This affects both strikes when adept. And then Spear Thrust, increasing the heal on this ability. I know we've gotten
By
a lot
4.
of feedback about Hua
This
Mulan.
is another
so come on,
example
talk to me.
of
Well,
we're
we
going to buff a
actually- we
character
had
that
this
y'all are
raised, like,
begging
couple
for
patches
buffs
ago, but
for.
we just kept
This
adding
character
behind
does
us,
not
like,
need
when
buffs.
we
The
release it
character
based
is
off the amount of
performing
people
fine at all
Oh,
ranks.
no.
It's just nobody plays her.
No,
This
big
is not a
thing
buff.
is,
They increased
again,
the damage of
this
her
is why
cross
we're doing
strike
kind of a lot of
by
soul lane
10.
buffs. We've seen that Soul Rangers
By
actually holding
10.
on
It's
pretty
going to do
well,
10
but
more
the last few
damage,
patches
and your heal is
specifically,
going to be
that trend has changed to be a lot more
4 more
widespread.
late game,
Warriors
4,
doing a lot- that
and
were
8
doing
more
pretty well
early
before
game.
are now struggling more than they
This
were
is
before.
another
We think
non-buff.
she's in
They're
line
just
for
doing
buff.
it because
And
people
we
have been
also
asking
had-
for buffs for
we
so
know
long.
that
So
we
like,
wanna
here,
go
take
back
10
and
more
revisit
damage
what
and 4
plus
more
one damage
healing.
entirely.
This
But
is another
the amount of work that
non-buff,
we
which
have
is
planned
fine
for
because
that
some
and
people
the
have just
amount
been
of ideas that
begging
we
for a
have, we
Mulan
wanna take that.
buff.
We've kinda
She doesn't
stalled
need
on
it.
a little bit
In
because
every
to
game that I'm
finally
playing
achieve
with a
that
good
+1,
Mulan,
there's a
she
lot more
is
that goes
fucking
into it.
destroying.
So we didn't want
It's
to hold
just
anything
people
else
don't
back,
play her
and
that
she was
much.
definitely in line with all the rest of the warriors to get an adjustment. So
Yeah, that's what he
Yep,
just
here we
said.
are. She's getting
She's
some
performing
extra
as
damage
well
on
as
her
all
strike,
the other
and
warriors
that
in the
Spear
game right
Thrust
now.
healing is gonna help her, especially
But
with
people
a lot
just
in
don't think
scaling
she's good
against
for some
opponents.
reason.
All right, next up, Kukulkan Khan is getting a new aspect. Well, not aspect, a new thing to his 2. It's hard to say.
new
I can't,
feature.
I can't
New
say
feature.
aspect anymore. But Slipstream 2, new. The movement speed buff is gained when using the dash from this ability.
Yeah, so now you don't have to choose between the dash or the movement speed. It's now more conditional.
That's a good
if you are
change.
in the 3,
There's no reason
you're
you should
basically
give
always
up
going to
the
wanna use
movement
this because you're basically
speed
gonna get
just
both of
because
them.
you dash. That's a good change.
And we think that this is just a better, like
It is.
This makes
That's
the previous
good.
plus when we
There's
added
no
them
reason to
feel a
give
lot
up
more
your
in line with a lot of
movement
the other
speed
plus
just
we've
because
done.
you
For a
happen to
character
do the
that
dash.
needs some help.
For sure. All right, and last up on the list here that I have in text, one more thing to talk about after this. But Nemesis, Aspect of Justice,
That
Divine
makes that
Judgment.
very
New,
strong.
Healing from this ability is unaffected by anti-heal.
Yes. So
That
this
makes that
aspect is
very
really unique in the
strong.
way that it tries
And
to
probably
equalize
good
health.
too.
But
Because
the
it's
second anti-heal
if
got
you went
involved, it got
aspect
very
them and they
weird
had
very
anti-heal,
fast,
it
and
did
didn't feel like it
genuinely
delivered on
nothing.
the promise of
It
the
did nothing.
theme.
Yeah.
Right.
So we decided
that's probably a
that
good
it's
change,
not
but that
really
makes
a
that
heal,
very
it's
strong.
Something else.
Yeah.
Because it's described as like the idea is that you're leveling it, and that doesn't really feel like a heal in the same way.
Yeah.
And this just gives it a really unique niche. It makes the theme of the aspect a lot more on point.
It makes
and that means
sense.
that she
I think this
doesn't-
makes
like,
sense,
it's
but that
basically
makes it
not use
very
this
fucking
aspect
strong.
because anti-heal exists.
Nice. Cool. Well, that is everything I have on this doc. One thing I do want to call out: Clumsy came in.
I was going to say the
Oh,
same
before
thing.
we started the show. Scylla aspect. He is looking into buffs for that. I know we've gotten a lot of feedback about Scylla's aspect. Just didn't have anything in time to add to this doc before the show, but expect something to be in full patch notes whenever we get to final patch
I
notes.
don't know exactly what we're going to deliver, but I can generally say the theme is allow
Yo!
for easier access to
Flo, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
either gaining mana or removing some of the restrictions.
But on and on and on
she
and
should
on
get
and on
more
and on
ults
and
off
on and
in
on and
general. The restriction right now is just
222 gifted. Huge.
Sweet. Well, gentlemen, what a show, huh?
Yeah, no, a lot of great stuff. And I think that, like,
On and on and on
you know,
and on
we,
and on and on.
the new quick play
I love shorts,
queue,
buddy.
Right, will introduce a lot of experimental new features to the game.
Yeah.
Right, that we're really curious to see the overall player reaction to them. Right.
Yeah.
I think that, like, we are excited about the opportunity that comes with this queue and some of these experiments. And we definitely can see a world where they get integrated into kind of the core game, some of them at least, and really curious to see everybody's feedback. I will say, flash testing, we are only going to have Conquest available today. We will not have Quick Play available today because there are a few bugs that we're still working out with it. So, sorry, you want to?
No, I was just saying, like, we had it, like, right now you have like a 50-50 shot when you first load in. Your pick 3 isn't going to actually load properly. We have a pretty good idea what that is, but we didn't want to obviously have you guys playtest that and have a really bad experience. So I think we will try and turn it on later, but yeah we just want to iron out a few things.
Yeah, because I believe we plan to flash test right after the show and then again tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow's flash test will have Quick Play available.
Yep, and I think that, like, you know, we really want everybody to give Quick Play a try once it comes out. And
So I'm going to summarize my thoughts here, and then obviously this is going up in the video, but there is one thing I am generally worried about right now, okay? I think everything they're doing makes sense. I like the stuff that they're trying. I like that they're trying to grow and change to try to keep Smite 2 alive. But I also feel like we're trying to reinvent what Smite is. And I think a lot of the progress that we've been making, like with the action cam and different things like that, specifically the action cam, the action cam and stuff like that, I feel like is an overall net negative for the game. It's changing what Smite is and the way Smite can be played, and I understand the response to that is you don't have to use it. But putting people on that as their first experience in Smite makes it very unlikely that they change from it, because that's once they learn that, that's what they're going to want to do. That's what they'll get comfortable with, and they're very unlikely to change. Once you get used to something in a video game, the odds that you are going to swap to the real way of playing Smite is very unlikely. And when we are actively contributing to a whole new generation of potential Smite 2 players in a new way that the game is not played, like the game is just not played like that, the content creators that they watch don't play like that, I feel like it leads to a scenario where they are less likely to watch somebody who plays on a different POV or field of vision than them. And I feel like it's going to be a thing where you're neglecting a lot of the veteran players, which is what's keeping Smite alive right now. And I understand the intent is to influence better new player retention, but if it's at the cost of changing the way that core Smite is played and viewed, I don't think that ultimately ends up being worth it. It's already hard enough to make a game good from a single field of view. To introduce multiple ones to try to influence somebody to have an easier time transitioning to the game is not going to translate to new player retention as much as I feel like they think it might. And it worries me because what it does is it alienates your current player base, because the whole group of new players coming in aren't going to play like that. It alienates your creators who have been here for a long time, because I feel like they're less likely to watch somebody who play like if I'm playing a game and somebody just plays on completely different settings and completely different field of view, they're not going to play the game the same way I do, which means they're less likely to watch the game like that because that's not the way the game is played for them. And it generally is worrying me that we are so focused on finding a Smite that's comfortable for everybody that we're changing the way Smite is played in order to do it. And that's what worries me. We're changing the game so much just to desperately try and find hey, Smite can be for everybody. If you're coming from a first-person shooter, you can play it like this. If you're coming from Gears of War, right, you can play on this camera. If you're coming from this, here's a really simplified version of the game that allows you to dodge and jump and move and blah, 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 blah. And I feel like that influences them to come play Smite, but maybe not come play what Smite is. And how long before, 2-3 seasons down the line, what if the 85% of the player base, it has grown, which is good, but what if 85% of the player base is now playing Smite in a whole new way that's just not nearly as fun to I don't know. That's all I'm worried about. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a tad bit worried. A lot of new good stuff, though, in that patch. A lot of stuff to be excited for. But I really don't like the action cam. I really don't like it. I like almost everything they've done. I think the quick play thing is dope. I think the Q screen is fantastic. The prisms and skins that they're doing continue to be dope. I just feel like we're neglecting the current player base that is keeping the game alive right now and spending the most money right now. And I understand to get new players, it's probably essential to get new players for its survival, and I don't disagree with that, but I think the action camera is this is going to be dramatic. I think the action camera is the worst thing that they've introduced to the game.